Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good Tuesday morning to you, tell the truth. Did you all watch the end of Ozark last night? I mean, there was no basketball, there was no hockey, there was some baseball. That we know, but did you catch up and watch the end of the Birds? I have not. I still got a few to go. My wife did last night, though. But we're back. We got hockey tonight. We got NBA tonight. It's the beginning of the Eastern Conference Championship between Boston and Miami. Miami is the favorite tonight because they're at home, but for the series, it's the Celtics minus 185. I guess that's about right. I think Boston's going to win. I'm just going to say right now, I think the Celtics will win this series, and they'll do it in 6. So they'll win it at home. I think Dallas will upset Golden State. Tomorrow, the Warriors are 5-point favorites. They are minus 225 to win the series. I think the best player on the floor will be Luka Doncic. Although, who do you think will be guarding him? Do you think they'll move Draymond Green up to guard Luka Doncic?
I do. I do think it'll be Draymond. You'll see Draymond on him a lot. I think you can see Andrew Wiggins on him a good bit. But I do think the benefit that the Warriors have is that a lot of the guys that will be setting the ball screens could also be guarded by Draymond. So if you're willing to have him guarding Luka anyway, you can do a lot of switching in those scenarios as well, and you don't lose any ground per se.
I think in this series, Burleson and Dinwiddie have to be huge.
Brunson,
kid from Vandy, Jalen Brunson. Brunson and Dinwiddie both have to play. Brunson's got to play like he did in the first series. Dinwiddie's got to play like he did in the second round series. If they do that, I think they have a chance. I'm more convinced that Boston will win in the Miami series. I know there's not an answer directly for Adebayo, but I look at that Boston team. They just knocked off the defending champions. They did it on the road. And, I know Grant Williams had an unbelievable game, but maybe that's a breakthrough game for him. And then you just look at what they got. They got 3, maybe 4 just incredible, experienced players. You've got Tatum as the superstar, and this is his breakout year. You've got Jaylen Brown, and most people didn't think they could coexist. Well, they could coexist. They've got Marcus Smart, who's become one of the better perimeter players because he plays both ways. He's a great defender. And then you got Horford, who's the most experienced of all of them, who knows how to win championships. He did it in college, too. Horford is an outstanding player. I think Boston has a really good chance, and I'm looking at all these teams to win the NBA.
And Horford's been an excellent defender, too, like you mentioned. I almost go the other way, though. I'm more convinced that the Mavs can beat the Warriors, and I'm scared to pick between the Celtics and the Heat because Jimmy Butler has been maybe the best offensive player outside of Giannis,
right.
but he's not in the playoffs anymore, so it doesn't matter. Of the remaining teams, Jimmy Butler's been the best offensive player in the playoffs, but the Celtics, I was saying back before Robert Williams got hurt, I thought they were the best team in the league, and now Robert Williams is back. You mentioned all the good players they had to score. They're playing maybe the best teams in the playoffs. If Al Horford can guard Giannis Antetokounmpo for an entire series.
I think Boston has been the best defensive team in the league since the All-Star break.
No doubt.
That's
and the Mavericks in the West.
Defense matters in the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
That's why I think Boston, of the 4 teams, I kind of think they may be the favorite of all of them. Since you mentioned Giannis and what the best offensive player, I don't think there's any question about this. So I ask you this question, and it just popped in my head. Which is more amazing to you, because they're both amazing feats. The fact that Jokic, who's the MVP of the league, in a year is the first guy ever to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists. Or Giannis, the first one ever in a series, one series, it was 7 games, 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists. Which is more amazing?
It's the second one. And it's not to downplay what Jokic has done over 2 full seasons, because that is a huge sample size, obviously. But the regular season is just different, and you can also be, in the regular season of the NBA, a dominant player on that team. Not that I'm not downplaying what he does, but in a 7-game series in the playoffs against a team that we're talking about maybe can go win the NBA championship.
They just beat them.
That beat them. It's unbelievable feat right there. One that I can't imagine we see replicated for a very long time, unless it's by him.
Well, here's the thing. It's a hard one to really call, because it's never been done before by either guy, in either category, right? So both of them are unique. But you're talking about 82 games. That's a long stretch. And what you have to take into account is you got to be pretty healthy. Like, that's one of the things Jaren Jackson Jr. brought up about himself in his exit interview, that he played 78 games this year. A guy who, couldn't seem to play more than 30 games in the first couple of years, and now he played 78 games. So in order to make the accomplishment of 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists, you got to play a lot of games. You got to stay healthy. You got to be there every night and win a lot of games. And he did. That being said, it had never been done before in a series, what Giannis accomplished. And everybody says, and I think it's true just from watching it over all these years, there's no doubt the level of intensity in the NBA playoffs is a lot like watching college basketball when it's tournament time. College basketball, for the most part, those guys, even in non-conference games, even early on in the first half anyway, when you're playing mid-major against the Power 5, those guys all put out. They play hard for most of the time. Now, when the game gets to be 20 or 30, which happens in some of these things, that doesn't stay that way. But when you get into conference play and you get rivalries, you get into the NCAA tournament, that's what we love about college basketball. You don't always get that in the NBA. I don't think it's quite like it used to be when they walked it up and they played hard the last 2 minutes of a game. They don't do that in today's NBA. They play harder than they used to. There's more people. Teams are deeper. They're paying more money. They want to get more the injuries and now the load management stuff, so more people are involved, and they're trying to prove themselves to get their minutes so they can make their next contract. So I do think they play harder than they used to in the regular season, but it is up the notch when you get to postseason and you're playing to not be eliminated. And the officiating changes. They allow more physical play. I don't think there's any question about that. Maybe that's why there's a few more injuries when we get into the playoffs. So for that reason, they're both unique, both first times, but because the level is upped and because Giannis did it against the best defensive team since the All-Star break, that seems to me to be an oomph. Just an oomph, not much, but a little bit greater than what Jokic was able to accomplish.
It's a shame that Giannis had to get knocked out of the playoffs in that scenario, too. It really is. Because, I think we'll look back more. Maybe not that we don't look back favorably on it now, but I think we'll look back with more appreciation for how good Giannis is as a player, and maybe he'll win more championships, too.
He's
more
won
than just
2 NBA MVPs.
Yeah, 2 MVPs, but I think if it's down.
And he's got a title. That's a Hall of Fame already.
Yeah, easily.
He's – I think we – basically,
and Jokic is out of the playoffs, too. It's a shame we missed both these guys getting to play more.
Right.
And Embiid, top 3 guys in the MVP race.
Unfortunately, the teams they were facing were better. And you have to remember, basketball is a team game. The best teams normally will win. You've got to have 2 or 3 parts and then other people that accept roles. The thing that is the wild card for me with Boston is Grant Williams. Will we see the Grant Williams who had 7 threes and 27 points in Game 7, or you see the guy, what did you tell me, scored the game before that 2 points and then 1 point or no points in the game before that?
0 and 2.
Yeah.
And then comes out for a huge game. But what's been really consistent for him is his defense, obviously. He's been playing really great defense the whole time. But when he does shoot, he's been very efficient. He's shooting 42% total from the playoffs. On spot-up shots, he's shooting over 45%. So he's been very efficient when they've counted on him.
I'm going to say the guy's a winner, too.
Oh, no doubt.
The guy is a winner. And that's part of the reason why I like Boston so much. Okay, we got the lottery tonight. I was just checking to see what the mocks look like before they really know totally what the whole thing is going to be. So the number 1 guy is Houston and Jet Holmgren. After looking at Holmgren, the guy that beat Memphis wasn't Holmgren. The guy that beat Memphis was Timmy. And it wasn't because they were all looking at Holmgren and that allowed Timmy space. Timmy takes over the game. Timmy's not even in these mocks, okay? I don't know. Timmy might be going back to Gonzaga for another year because he loves college basketball. But to me, there is a question about Holmgren. I know he can shoot. I mean, he's just so skinny. He's going to get bigger. But who was the guy that was like 7'3" or 7'4"? Oh, God. Pat, not Bradley. And he was a high draft choice, and he never made it. Just like 10 years ago. 7'3" guy. I wish I could remember his name.
I'm on it. I'm trying to help.
Okay. But that's kind of what I think could happen with Holmgren. I'm not 100% convinced that Holmgren is going to be a superstar or that he's worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. Do I think he'll be Hasheem Thabeet? No. But do I think he becomes even Ayton, the Phoenix Center? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% certain. But it'll be interesting to see. But he's number 1. Banchero, who I do think is the real deal. He is the number 2 overall mock pick. And then Jaden Ivey, the guard from Purdue, is 3 in most of these mocks.
Like Jaden Ivey
and
a lot.
He's really good. He's Neil Ivey's son, who was the Memphis assistant, she's the Notre Dame head coach. It's her son. He's terrific. I think he's going to be really good. I got more faith in Banchero and Ivy than I do in Holmgren. I could be wrong. The Grizzlies with the 22 pick, according to the CBS mock, they're going to take Malachi, Branham, the wing from Ohio State. They think he's a good shooter, 6'5", got the size. And then with the 29th pick, if they keep both these picks, I like this pick. Walker Kessler. The big man from Auburn.
He could definitely play right away and make a difference, but his ceiling would probably be capped versus other guys. But if
he's
you want
29.
I was about to say if you want to reload and try and play right away, then that's a good guy to take.
Yeah, I don't know much about the kid from Ohio State, but the Walker Kessler move doesn't seem to be too bad to me. Do you like the Holmgren pick?
I like Holmgren. I think I'd compare him to Porzingis a lot. I think I don't see. He definitely has good size, good frame. I mean, he could put size on it.
How good has Porzingis been?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is he's so offensively or defensively capped? I guess you're just looking so much offensively.
Yeah,
that just scares the heck out of me, honestly. But I mean, he's definitely going to be a contributor and a good player for a long time.
We will talk about the Grizz and their offseason and what might happen. Pete Pranica will join us at about 10:45 today, so we'll get the TV voice of the Grizzlies' take on what he thinks might happen in this offseason. We're not making golf picks till tomorrow, but, it is the PGA. It is the second major of the year. Scotty Scheffler is the only person that can win the Grand Slam because he won the Masters, and he hasn't really done much since he won the Masters, but he did a lot before he won the Masters. He is up as number one in the FedEx Cup points. I think I've surpassed you now.
I believe you're right.
In the golf pick, so you're going to have the first pick.
I think
Is
so.
Scotty Scheffler going to be your guy?
I don't know if it's going to be Scotty Scheffler. I really like Rory, to be honest. I know I don't want to give away my picks too early, and I'm not saying I'm going to pick Rory either because we saw.
Well, you can change your mind.
I guess I could always change my mind, but I think Rory, he's been playing so consistently. I just think you got to be good around the green, driving and around the green, chipping and driving here. I think is going to be important this week. I was talking with some buddies yesterday. We were kind of seeing how we would maybe play this course, and obviously we would probably shoot over 90. But for the pros to be good at driving and around the greens is important. I like Rory to be like that.
I think I broke 90 there.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 88 or 89, something like that.
It's going to be a hot weekend too, maybe.
That's okay. For Tiger, it's good.
Who do you like? Do you like?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. This is the truth. I think at this very moment in golf, it is the hardest time since I've been making golf picks to make golf picks. I am telling you, there are 30 guys that could win the PGA Championship.
I agree. It's so hard. I'm paralyzed every week we make picks by indecision because I got like a power ranking of 5 guys. I want to take all of them. We were talking yesterday.
Maybe what we should have done is made 3 picks, 2 and 1 shock. Well, too late now.
Too late now. But we were kicking ourselves for not taking Sebastian Munoz. Both the guy we had looked at and wanted to take ends up playing a great weekend.
Well, we're not going to be able to take him as a shock much longer because he's going to be above 50 soon.
Skyrocketing.
Yeah. Oh, he's good. That's another good Spaniards. They got Munoz. They got Garcia. Who else have they got that's really good? There's a third
John
one.
Rahm.
Oh, John Rahm. What am I talking about? They are really in a nice role, and that helps those Europeans when it's Ryder Cup time. That is for sure. John Rahm. What's happened to John Rahm? He got married, had a kid, and his game is plummeted.
Maybe he needs some stability. Maybe the kid gets a little bit older, starts sleeping a normal schedule. He gets a little bit more stability, and then he's back. Because we know he can crush the world.
What about Jordan Spieth?
Jordan Spieth is a good one. Jordan Spieth, though, drives me nuts watching him play golf, especially when I'm backing him to do well, because he is always going to talk himself out of like 3 or 4 of the right shots per round and hit one God knows where, and just he overthinks everything. You ever listen to him with his caddy, the way he's talking? I mean, every single shot is overthought. Not that I'm one to throw stones here, but
here's my fear of him. First off, I think he's in a really good groove. He's playing better now than he has in 2 or 3 years. Okay? Since he had that run where he won 3 majors in 18 months. The great storyline is if he wins it this time, he would become the first ever to win the career Grand Slam in the PGA. So that would be kind of cool. Southern Hills is a golf course that is much like the kind of grasses and the heat and humidity that you saw last week where he was so good at the Byron Nelson. So there's a lot of nice factors for him. Here's what you got to live with if you take him as your pick. He's going to miss 2 easy putts around. He's going to have 1 or 2 bad swings where you go, what? How did he miss that so badly? But he does that. He does that every round. And it's not just pressure shots. It's like he has a brain fart. I guess we could say that in this day and age. I've heard a lot worse. In the middle of the round, he just loses it. He loses focus or something. So you got to learn to live with that. But I am telling you, I could look at a list of 30. We'll look at the power rankings, and I'm telling you, any one of them can win.
I don't disagree with you at all. You're talking about Jordan Spieth doing well. Like you said, last week, second at the Byron Nelson.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a little hometown flavor for him.
But everybody was for him.
That's right, as they always are at the Byron Nelson.
So part of this story, too, is the PGA, who's there and who's not, right? So Tiger's there. He's won a major at Southern Hills, but he's there, still recovering, and he's not getting any younger. And there are hills to walk at Southern Hills, not nearly as tough as Augusta, and it's not cold. So that is helpful for him. I think Tiger will make the cut. But then there's Phil Mickelson, who becomes only the 5th player in history, and the first one who's not either been killed or hurt that doesn't defend his major championship. Like Payne Stewart missed, Tiger Woods missed, Rory McIlroy missed defending a major. They were all injured. Payne Stewart, unfortunately, passed away in the plane crash. Phil's the first one ever to not defend a major championship when he wasn't injured. So there's a little history there. And it got me to think, because, Tiger fell from grace, too. With the sex scandal and all that, he recovered. I think Phil will recover from this fall from grace. And if you think about it, he is far from the very top of the order of people who have fallen from grace. Some have recovered. Some didn't. So, who's the biggest fall from grace of any athlete?
Well, I think of a couple. My first one, my lifetime, A-Rod. Huge fall from grace. He's come back. He's on TV.
He's come back. He's on TV. He owns the Minnesota Timberwolves. First he was with, what's her name, J-Lo.
Oh, that's right.
And then he looked human because she dumped him for Ben Affleck, apparently.
So sad.
And then, but he's recovered. I've seen him with a couple of, he had a beautiful woman he was with front row
at
the Grizzlies Timberwolves series.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah, I guess he's recovered. He's still doing baseball on TV, isn't he?
He is. He's with Michael Kay on Sunday nights.
So, yeah, he recovered.
Pete Rose is another one, probably.
So Pete Rose hasn't really recovered, which is a little ironic. I've always my thing has always been Pete doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame because he put the credibility of the game on the line by betting on his team. I mean, there's just no way around it. And you could say he only bet to win, yeah, but when he didn't bet to win, what did that mean? That told the gambler something. That he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall till he's passed, but then he deserves to be in. So I don't think he's ever recovered from that fall from grace. Here's a few that never recovered. O.J. Simpson. That's the worst fall from grace in the history of mankind.
It's hard to recover from that.
And he's never going to recover. Although, he's still searching for the killer on golf courses.
That's right.
All across America. Lance Armstrong.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Lance Armstrong never recovered. Tanya Harding. Fall from grace.
Well, they made that biopic about her a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I, Tanya.
Yeah. And it won, what's her name? Margot Robbie. She won an Academy. She was fantastic.
It was a great movie.
It was. But I don't think...
it didn't paint her in a positive light necessarily.
No, it didn't help her image. I don't know if she even got any money off of that.
Probably
she
not.
might have, but I really don't know. Mike Tyson. I think he's recovered from his fall from grace. I mean, he bit Evander Holyfield's ear. We know he's crazy. The first guy to ever have a facial tattoo. The man is nuts. He just pummeled a guy on an airplane, and now everybody hates the guy.
That's a perfect indictment that he's recovered.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. All right. Maria Sharapova. She took steroids, remember, she had to miss some. She was suspended and couldn't participate in the height of her prime and never recovered. I think she made enough money. She's so beautiful. She probably married some rich guy by now. But it sort of ended her career. So she didn't totally recover. And I guess that's Michael Vick. I don't think he ever totally recovered. He got accepted back in the game, but I don't think Michael Vick ever recovered from the dogfighting thing.
I have to credit John Harden for this when he texted me Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, there's another murderer.
There you go. Just like
he's
OJ.
In the same league with OJ.
That's right. And he'll never recover, unfortunately.
No, that is for sure. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of baseball. There is some sad news. David West, the young man from Craigmont High School, a Memphian, passed away from brain cancer at the age of 57. He actually came up with Tim Doolin. We'll get Tim's thoughts on David West and a whole bunch more on baseball. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Don't forget that vacation at home sale. It's going on right now at I-40 and Whidden Road. I mean, there's some savings. Like if you're a really good do-it-yourself guy, you can save up to $1,500 on an above-ground pool. If you buy one, pick it up, and install it yourself. The savings are there with this vacation at home sale at Family Leisure. You know our title sponsors, Home or Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where you will never pay more than sticker price on any new car. I went past the new cars the other day. I went past their beautiful lot right there at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78. And there's a bunch of new cars there. And I'm telling you, I don't care about the chip shortage and the law of supply and demand. Not with Chris True and his gang that have been around forever, know their product, and know their clientele with so many repeat people. It's because they take care of you, and you'll never pay more than sticker price at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Back in a minute, Baseball with Tim. It's next on Wolo and Friends.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Did you know Willis Carrier invented the modern air conditioning system in 1902? Since then, a lot has changed, but one thing that hasn't is being comfortable in your home. Choate's prides itself in creating the most comfort possible with each one of our customers' HVAC systems we install. We believe the best system on the market today is the Carrier Infinity System. This system has the ability to save up to 50% or more on your utilities compared to your existing HVAC system and is tailored to enhance your comfort with its state-of-the-art green speed technology. Right now, Carrier is offering up to 72 months, no interest financing, or rebates of up to $1,650 on a new Carrier Infinity system. Don't miss this limited time offer to have a more comfortable home and save money on your utility bills. Give us a call today at 347-8086 or visit us at ChoatesHVAC.com for more information. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll find what you love and love what you find, especially our totally low prices.
I'm firing up the grill for burgers and want to impress the neighbors.
This bourbon has a smoky flavor that'll go great with your grilling.
Nice! Wow, and look at that price. Well done.
I prefer medium rare. Your neighbors will love it. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Pickup and delivery available at TotalWine.com. Drink responsibly, B21.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. Two great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday, 11A to 9P. Friday and Saturday, 11A to 10P. Regalia, Sunday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Bellyacres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Bellyacres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Bellyacres.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Baseball with Tim coming your way in a minute. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, and it's a team, and the way that Matt Eflin does business it's a little different. He is all about insurance collaboration. He gets to know you. He'll sit you down with your family, get to know exactly what your needs may be, how you see the future, and we're talking life insurance, home insurance, an auto program to fit whatever your need may be. And, oh, by the way, your budget as well. He gets to know you, figures it all out, and voila, you're protected. Same thing with commercial insurance, especially if it's a small to mid-sized business. He has virtually unlimited access to programs after he gets to know you and how you forecast your business over the next 5 to 10 years. He takes care of you. All you got to do is call 386-GUR. That's 901-386-4777. The GUR is there because he's a big Tiger guy. That's the Eflin Insurance Group. David West played baseball with Tim Doolin, I think against Tim Doolin on different teams. Growing up, 57 years of old. He played with the Mets, the Phillies, the Bo Sox. He won a World Series in 91 with Minnesota. He played in 3 World Series games, pitched for Philly in 93. Unfortunately, at the age of 57, he passed away from brain cancer. I think he actually worked for a short period of time with Tim Doolin as well. So I know, Tim, you knew him very, very well. Your thoughts on this sad passing of a Memphian?
Yeah, just a tough deal. I mean, those that knew David, I mean, kind of a gentle giant, big guy, very knowledgeable in the game of baseball and pitching, and really loved coaching kids, mentoring kids. Just hard to believe that someone of that age is not here anymore. But great family, grew up, I was from Raleigh. He was from Raleigh. He went to Craigmont. And
you where did you go? Skyview?
I went to Briarcrest.
Briarcrest.
I played with David. I played with David at, when we were 12, 13 years old, all the way up to played at Millington Telephone for Babe Howard back in the day. And anyway, just sad news.
He was a special guy, right? Big left-hander and got pretty good velocity.
No, he had really good velocity, and it's kind of a Madison Bumgarner, Sid Fernandez. It had arms and legs coming at you because he was so big, and it was he was with the Mets when they had their run
right.
with all of their personalities, and great storyteller. Just a really, really good guy.
One of the Mets stars, I can't remember, was just quoted saying he was just a terrific teammate. You think about the Mets, the Phillies who went to the World Series. He won a World Series with Minnesota. He was on a lot of good teams.
No, he really was. I mean, just the Mets and the Phillies. Darren Dalton, I think, was very helpful through his foundation when David was diagnosed with cancer. And but yeah, he played. Some of the Kevin Elster, Kevin Reynolds, Gary Carter, all those guys with the Mets. So it was always good hearing David, and it's always good hearing guys that played the game, that coached or managed or whatever, tell stories about. That's one of the things I really miss about playing is all the camaraderie and all the things that you share with other players.
10 years in the bigs, and then I think he played a year or two in Japan, so he had a long career. When he retired, was he here for? I know he was here for some part of
he retired.
Of his retirement.
He retired and was in Florida for the majority of it, and then came back to Memphis to be closer to his mom and dad and his brother, and worked for me. Coached a few of our teams, gave pitching lessons, and then most recently was giving lessons for the Memphis Tigers and coaching in their organization. It was kind of a quick thing.
To him and his family, our condolences, really, and sympathies. David West passing away at the age of 57. Yesterday was weird. The Tulane Green Wave, traditionally a very good baseball program, it didn't say they fired their coach, but they parted ways with Travis Jewett. He's been their coach the last 6 years, and they still have a tournament to play. It's a weird time to part ways. What the heck happened in New Orleans?
Well, typically, when things when it's announced the way it was, where they basically say they're parting ways, I would imagine it was one of those things where they gave them the opportunity to resign without bringing forth why they were letting them go. And I'm speculating, but typically, like you said, you don't fire someone with I think 3 more conference games to play as well as the conference tournament. And so I'm good friends with Travis Jewett, and I know he experienced some frustrations that he had visited with me about over the last probably year and a half. However, I had no idea that it was going to come to a head like this.
Wow. So you are stunned, huh?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Because Tulane doesn't normally do things like that, right? I mean, they keep coaches forever.
Well, and this guy hadn't taken him to a regional, although I think he's been gaining ground on making them relevant. And, a Memphian that everyone knows, Avin Fogelman, donated a lot of money to Tulane University, and they have
their baseball stadium.
They have an unbelievable stadium.
Yeah, their stadium is fantastic.
So I think the challenge that you have at an institution like that, being a mid-major and not a dominant force in the baseball world, when you're dealing at a private institution that's very, very expensive to get in, or to for people to pay, and it's very difficult to get in. It makes it a little bit more challenging in some of your secondary sports to become relevant when you're competing against other institutions that are in your space that aren't as expensive and in some cases are more relevant from a baseball perspective. So I wouldn't say it was an easy job, but I did think he kind of gained ground on it. But obviously the administration didn't see eye to eye with what direction the team was going.
So Tulane's coach is gone, and Memphis's coach will be gone, but in a lot of different circumstances. Rock leaving, retiring after 18 years with the Tiger baseball program when the University of Memphis is eliminated from either the American Athletic Conference tournament, or if they were to win that, the NCAA tournament. Rock will be gone. Who do you think are the front runners, if you know, to replacing Rock?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew, because I'm as excited as any of the other fans for the Tigers and alumni and former players. Because I am excited that I do think that this administration gets it, and I think they realize that baseball can be a relevant sport at Memphis, and they understand how good a talent we have in the market. And I think one thing that you and I talked about off the air is that we'll know a little bit more, I would say, the day after the Tiger season ends. If they name a guy, great. If they don't, then it tells you that the guy that they're looking at, or the guys that they're talking to, are all playing in the postseason after their conference tournament, and you can't really name the coach until they finish their season. So
let me ask you this, and I'm not saying I have any insight whatsoever, but if there's an assistant coach for a team that's going to play in the College World Series or the NCAA baseball tournament, he's not the head coach, because you got to imagine a head coach is not going to leave a program that he's just taken to the College World Series. But an assistant would. Would you announce that if an assistant is still playing?
I think you would like to announce it. I think an unwritten rule of being fair to the team that you would be leaving, you'd have to get a blessing from their athletic director and or their coach to allow that announcement to be made. Because keep in mind, you don't want to distract your current players from an assistant leaving, as well as you've got all kind of recruiting issues with guys coming in that might have signed their letter of intent to come to your school based on that coach, whether it be a pitching coach or a hitting coach or whatever. So I think there's a few different variables and dynamics that you got to work through to make that happen. Obviously, the sooner that they can name the coach, and the sooner he can look at what his existing roster looks like, as well as what's in the portal. And we've got players that have played for us in the past that are already in the portal, and it's like the wild, wild west. I mean, lots of players are going to be in the portal, and not all of them are going to find homes. But in the same regard, this new coach is going to want to become as relevant as soon as possible, and so he's going to be, trying to recruit out of the portal. And in some cases, you'll be looking at some junior college players that have not signed to go to a Division I school, but those guys, if they're prospects, they've already committed somewhere and landed. So these next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting for Tiger fans, I can assure you.
Last thing for Tim Doolin on baseball. We normally talk about the great teams. Yankees' best record in baseball at the moment. Worst record belongs to Cincinnati, and what a tough year. They actually threw a no-hitter 2 days ago and lost. How do you do – I mean, the poor Cincinnati Reds, who've won only 9 games so far.
Yeah, it's tough because, they've got one of the brightest young stars, pitching stars in the big leagues, named Hunter Green. He's up to 100 miles an hour, and he was the guy that was pitching the other night. And
yeah,
obviously you got to protect your future. In the same regard, you're trying to get a win, and then you look up and you throw a no-hitter and lose. It's just insult to injury. David Bell's a great manager. However, I don't know that he'll survive it. I think he probably will, but who knows? And they're in a rebuilding mode that they can't seem to catch a break.
Well, it's not the first time. It's the sixth time that's happened where a team had a no-hitter and lost. So it's not totally unique, but it is pretty rare, and it's just kind of the way things are going for the Reds this year. Tim Doolin, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you much, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Wolo.
Thank you. This portion of the show brought to you by City Golf. You know, I love golf. Memphis loves golf. City government loves golf. They realize now golf is an amenity to a great city, and we're a great city, and they're redoing Overton. I can't wait till July because we'll see what that thing looks like. Pine Hill will open up hopefully at the end of fall. It's completely renovated. It's going to be beautiful with a new clubhouse. Fox Meadows is getting new greens. That'll start happening, I think, in the next week or so. Public golf has never been better. There's a new app, by the way, for your phone. You can get it either at the Apple Store or you can get it on Google Play. You can make tee times with this thing. You can view special offers. You can get tournament information. It is really cool. You just can't beat Memphis golf. Galloway's in perfect shape right now. Audubon right in the heart of the popular corridor, which in a couple of years is going to have a redo as well. It's a true test of golf for really any level of player. So the city's invested in public golf like never before. If you haven't played a city golf course in a while, you need to. You will love it. And this portion of the show brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision you make. If you're building that dream home, maybe even a renovation with innovation, you want all the modern amenities in your own home because you love the location. You love your lot. You don't want to move. We get it. Ken gets it. And he sees little details and big picture all at once. That's why he's fun to talk to. Call 751-1632. First, go to the website, kengarland.com. If you need land, he's got it. If you're not sure how to utilize your land, Ken knows. 2 generations of beautiful home building, luxury home building in Memphis. That's Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. What's the offseason going to be like for the Grizzlies? We'll find out. From the television voice, Pete Pranica is next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to ask you a question. Do you have any gift-giving occasions in May? Does somebody special have a birthday? Or maybe you have an anniversary this month that it would be very wise not to forget. Do you need to remember a hard-working graduate with a little present that tells them how proud you are of their achievement? Or maybe a Mother's Day gift for your mom or your wife, and you never go wrong with a gift for no reason at all. Just a gift that simply says, I love you. For over 37 years at Russell Brothers, we've been helping men out of their gift-giving dilemmas. Our A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, along with the beauty of our jewelry and our quality, value, and service. That's why our thousands of loyal customers have been coming to Russell Brothers for 5 decades, and they keep on coming. We invite you to Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
We're starting the holiday early at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike with our big-time Memorial Day sales event. Great things come in 3, so take your pick from 2022 Dodge Charger or 2022 Jeep Cherokee Latitude or 2022 Chrysler 300 Touring. We Gossett $469 a month and get workhorse ready in 2022 Ram 1500 Tradesman $489 a month or $35,860. 2022 Dodge Charger, 2022 Jeep Cherokee Latitude, 2022 Chrysler 300 Touring $469 a month, 2022 Ram 1500 Tradesman $489 a month. Plus, trade up and get more for your ride at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. Drive past the rest and come to the best or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
Charger Cherokee 1575 at 4.11, 3,500 down. Must finance through Chrysler. 372 months at 2.9, 1,500. NS 148,243. MSRP 39,110. Charger NH 138807. MSRP 35,485. Cherokee ND 512,209. MSRP 35,735. 300 NH 11192. MSRP 37,135. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/22. Dealer stock only.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
The NBA playoffs is the world's greatest celebration of basketball. Hennessy champions the moves players are making on and off the court because true greatness is making a long-term impact on your community. Make moves that start movements. Hennessy, the spirit of the NBA. Please enjoy Hennessy responsibly.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
It's always a pleasure to talk with the television voice of the Memphis Grizzlies. That is Pete Pranica, who, probably now is going crazy because he doesn't know what the heck he's going to do. Here's the guy who lives to work, Pete Pranica.
There's a lot to do around this house. All the stuff that gets deferred once the season starts. There's plenty of stuff asking for attention, and I'll figure something out. But yeah, would much rather be getting ready for a Western Conference Finals series. Sure.
Yeah. Before we move to what you are hoping for here in the offseason, let's reflect on what was a surprising year. I don't think anybody thought Memphis would have the second best record in the NBA at this stage of what was supposed to be a rebuild.
No, nobody anticipated this. I think going back to the start of the season, people were asking me, well, what are the realistic expectations for this team? And I said, well, I see them as being a potential, play-in team. You'd like to get 6 or higher because then you avoid the play-in tournament. But I thought that might be a heavy lift. We didn't know that Desmond Bane was going to take such a tremendous leap forward. We obviously had questions about what Steven Adams would be able to contribute after Jonas Valanciunas has had a career year. And Jaren Jackson Jr. was severely limited last year because of the knee injury. And I think all of us said the Grizzlies, their success will be determined in large part how well Jaren plays. And Jaren played very well and was available and was not injured. So, those were all things that got the Grizzlies to where they were.
And then in the exit interviews, and I loved how Jaren Jackson Jr. did point out, I said this already earlier today, he played 78 games where, his durability was a major question mark coming in, so he answered that. You heard two things that if you're a Grizzlies fan were the perfect things to hear. One came from Zach Kleiman, where we're not worried about retaining anybody we want to retain. We will pay, and that has to come from Robert Pera. Maybe he's willing to go into the tax to do it. And the second thing was in regards to Ja Morant, who, is going to be extended this year. The question was, if you're asking me, do I want to stay in Memphis? The answer is hell yeah. So those were pretty promising things. What specifically beyond Ja are some of the things that you would like to see Zach Kleiman accomplish in this offseason?
Well, I'd like to see Tyus Jones back. Now, of course, later in the exit interviews, Tyus indicated that he feels he's a starting point guard. And is there a team out there who is willing to pay him and make him a starter? The Grizzlies would love to retain him because he has been fantastic as a player, as a person, as a locker room presence. He's been great. So, if you're Zach Kleiman, you want to keep the band back, bring the band back together as much as you possibly can because there's great chemistry with this team, and you can easily make the argument, Dave, that we really don't know how good this team is because in the playoff series against Golden State, Grizzlies did not have their preferred starting five for any of the games.
Right.
And so you'd kind of like to see, well, what would it be like if we actually had everybody healthy at the same time and not dealing with COVID and things like that? One of the other things that Zach Kleiman said that I was very encouraged about is we're not going to do something just to do something. We're not going to do something just to be splashy, to make headlines. So while the Grizzlies are willing to pay, and Zach indicated that retention of players is not going to be a financial issue, it also tells me that they've got a plan in mind for the type of player that they want. We see with other teams, there are players that bounce around from team to team and maybe aren't the best teammates, maybe don't fit in with the overall spirit of the team, and those teams don't succeed. So I think the Grizzlies have like a template for who would make a good Memphis Grizzly when you set aside the basketball talent and the basketball IQ and the athletic ability. And I think that's why this team has been successful, because they brought in high character guys that have, and this is a phrase Taylor Jenkins loves to use, high care factor. They care about winning. They care about the community. They care about the teammates. They care about the organization. And that's as big a reason, I think, as anything else is why this team is so successful.
Did you interpret Kleiman's thing about we're not worried about money to retain players, and basically money is not the issue? Did you interpret that as a message from Robert Pera that they would be willing to go into the tax to retain or even to get free agents?
I think if it makes sense, again, I go back to what Zach Kleiman said. We're not going to do something just for the sake of doing something. So if there is the proverbial offer you can't refuse, and it puts you into the tax, maybe they would go there. But it would absolutely have to positively be a home run. And I think that, would they be willing to do it? I've not talked to Robert. It's possible. But again, it's on a case-by-case basis. You're not going to say, hey, we're going to go over the tax because we're going to find, a free agent that is going to cost us, $25 million or whatever number you'd attach to. I don't even know what the numbers are anymore. So they want to be prudent with whatever they do. But if there is that opportunity, I could see that Robert might give that a thumbs up.
Do you have a plan for Kyle Anderson? You mentioned you want Tyus Jones back, and he wants to be a starter, so we'll have to see how that plays out. What about Slomo?
Well, I love Kyle. I love his game. I love what he adds to the team. I think the issue with him coming back is he doesn't provide you with a lot of offense. He came off a career year, and then last year the hitch was back in his shot, and he was experiencing, I guess, some discomfort based on one report that I read. You'd like to have him back because he's a great teammate. He's another guy who can handle the basketball, because one of the things that the Grizzlies are going to want to do is, do we have secondary ball handlers so that John Morant doesn't have to be the primary ball handler and the primary scorer and the primary playmaker? Can we give him some help? And Kyle Anderson is a guy that could help in that way.
So this is an extension year for Ja. I think everybody knows he's going to get the Supermax. That's not a question. It's just a matter of, is it $217 million or is it $181 million that he is going to earn? But what about Brandon Clark? What do you see for him? Because he's also in the extension a portion of his tenure.
I think he's going to get paid because he had a career year. I like what he does. The Grizzlies were one of the better benches in the NBA in terms of point production, in terms of field goal percentage, and he was a major part of that, shooting well over 60% this year. So, I'm not a big guy on change. Obviously, Zach used the phrase proof of concept, and the proof of concept was pretty strong for the Grizzlies this year. So, you'd like to bring him back. And all these guys, when they were at the podium on Sunday, they're like, we want to come back. We want everybody back. We like each other. So, as Tony Allen would say, milk that horse.
You know what? There is no doubt this is a team that liked one another. I'm not sure not that I've been around intimately NBA teams, but I've been watching NBA teams for a long, long time, and I'm not sure I've ever seen a team that liked each other as much as this one.
Without a doubt. And, a lot of that starts with Taylor, just, the care factor. And his big thing is, I want you to know that I care about you more as a person than I do as a basketball player. And it's not just the players. It's the athletic training staff. It's the performance staff. It's the equipment staff. When we went through our bouts with COVID, we were getting texts from Taylor Jenkins asking us how we're doing. When my mom was in the hospital and in the process of passing away a couple of years ago, he was checking in by our PR department daily. Hey, how's Pete's mom?
Wow.
Or the shout out that we got as a broadcast group after Game 6 in Minnesota.
I saw that, yes. And Valley replayed that beautifully. That was very well done. Yeah.
So the whole thing about culture, it really is team wide, and it starts with Taylor Jenkins. And look, if you bring good people into your organization who are coachable and they have that care factor and they want to win and they want to be a good teammate, well, then you're going to get a locker room like we had this year.
All right, last thing, you got about 30 seconds to a minute. What are some of the moves you would like to see if you were Zach Kleiman?
I think you want to get more shooting, and I think you want to get an additional anybody who a big wing defensively, that can help Dylan Brooks in that regard. Perimeter shooting is always good. Another guy who can handle the ball and allow Ja to play off the ball. I think those would be things that you'd definitely be looking for.
He is Pete Pranica. I'm sure we'll visit with you within the next few weeks. We always appreciate your wisdom. Thanks, Pete.
Anytime, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Pete Pranica, the TV voice of the Grizzlies, brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. They can do it all for you. And, of course, the tune-up. That's so important. Get the tune-up. They're going to check for everything. 16 points they do inside. And in the summer, when they're looking at your air conditioning system, they'll check your Freon levels, make sure everything is working efficiently there. Then they go outside and they take care of your outside unit. They take all the dirt, all the leaves, all the grime. They remove it. It's like taking your system to a car wash. That's how efficient it is. And then your system becomes efficient, and that saves you money on your MLGW bill. And the other nice little offshoot from that is your system lasts longer. All you got to do is call 384-3511. And they're really thorough when it comes to plumbing or electric. They do it all for you. They are your one-stop shop. They are Conway Services, heating and cooling. So we got to thank Pete Pranica. Always love his insight. And Tim Doolin on baseball. And again, our sympathies go out to the David West family. Tomorrow, golf picks. Tomorrow we'll choose the winner of the PGA. Can't wait for that. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everybody.